Welcome back to Getting All You Deserve Out of Yourself. On our last time speaking, it was through an audio recording. Today I decided to sort of like show you my face so we can start developing a more intimate relationship with each other. Even though I know this is a complimentary service, I still am so committed to you getting all that you deserve out of yourself. And on our last recording, the message that I left with you, I left a homework assignment, which was for you to, for 7 days, consistently and constantly ask yourself, what will please you? What will please you? And I know some of you still have struggled with that assignment in terms of you may have done it, but you didn't hear anything. You didn't hear any precise message from yourself letting you know what it is that you truly desire for you, or what it is that will please you, that will truly make your soul sing. And that's really what I'm asking. What will make your soul sing? And here I want to talk about today, in terms of what would be a next step, because the thing that oftentimes causes us to lose sight of what pleases us is the fact that we've been so focused on pleasing other people. In fact, if you're women, like I work almost exclusively with women, and I find that women spend a large majority of their lives trying to please other people. Now, that men do it too. I know for a long time I was a people pleaser. The idea of pleasing other people took center stage in my life, and I didn't even know that it took center stage. I had subtle ways in which I was trying to gain the approval of other people, not realizing that it was a waste of time. Here's why it's a waste of time. Pleasure is an inside job, meaning it is always something that transpires within us and not necessarily what someone does to us or does for us. Sure, you can do nice things for people and it may make them happy, but some nice things that you do also have the opposite effect because you have no power or no control over whether or not someone is going to be happy with what you do for them, because pleasure is an inside job. In other words, pleasure is something that we create exclusively for ourselves from in ourselves. So like I said, we have no authority over that. So what happens is we spend most of our lives trying to please other people, trying to make them happy, trying to convince them that we are worthy. And in doing so, we lose sight of or lose, I would say, the hearing. We lose the ability to hear our own inner voice. And so today, what I want to do is I want to help you be able to distinguish your inner voice from all the other voices inside your head. Now, I know most of us believe that all the voices we hear in our head are really us. And so we really struggle with the idea of should we listen to ourselves, because we hear, I know when I was growing up, we were taught biblically that we should not adhere to our own understanding. Well, man should not adhere to his own understanding. We should adhere to the understanding of God. But at the end of the day, that ends up being us adhering to the understanding of some preacher or someone else who's interpreting what God says to us anyway. So I'd rather adhere to my own understanding than adhere to someone else's understanding. And here is why. It's because I have the ability to have a direct relationship with God just like you do. And we have a direct relationship with God. It's just that the world is so clever at distracting us from focusing on the voice inside ourselves until we end up listening to other people. I made it a focus in my practice that I would never try to make my voice louder in your head than your voice already is, or that your voice should be. Your voice in your head should be the loudest voice. And so today I want to help you to be able to distinguish your voice from all those other voices. And when I say your voice, I mean your divine voice. The voice that connects you and has always been connected and is never disconnected from source. That voice is within you, and that voice is leading you and guiding you. And here's why it's so important for you to follow it. It's important for you to follow it because you, my friend, are different from everyone else. You are unique. You are a one of a kind. What does that mean? In short, it means you are an only begotten. It means when God created you, there was no other. There was no copy. There was no replica. That was it. So you were the only one begotten. You are the only begotten son, or you are the only begotten daughter, depending on what your agenda is. Now, I know that may be hard for you to accept because some people are so religious minded that you don't understand what certain things mean in the actuality. But yes, you are an only begotten. That means you have a blueprint. You have a unique blueprint for your life that is unlike anyone else's. And if you try to follow someone else's blueprint, you are going to fail at living a happy life. You're going to fail at experiencing the untold pleasures that life lays in front of us and possibilities. As long as you keep copying off of someone else's paper, you're going to keep failing your test. I'm going to say this again. As long as you keep copying off of someone's paper, you're going to keep failing the test. And you know that you're failing the test by your unhappiness, by the fact that you're not pleased with yourself, and the fact that no matter what you do, nothing seems to do it for you. And so what I'm giving you is a pathway back to ground zero. Because the actuality, most of us spend so much of our time in the negative that we have to work just to get back up to ground zero. And ground zero is when we begin to start listening to our own inner voice. Now, the first thing I want you to know is that your inner voice is not inside your head. That's not where your inner voice lives. Your inner voice lives inside your heart. And your inner voice is so solemn and so committed and so true to you that it never says anything against you. Even when you've screwed up, even when you've made some horrible mistakes, your inner voice is always on your side. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to lie to you and make you feel good about messing up. But what it says to you and the way it communicates to you is always encouraging. It's always trying to get you to be your best and to not give up on yourself. So here's some other things. Your inner voice is never in a hurry. Your inner voice does not push you to make fast moves or to get in a hurry about anything. The next thing is it's always calm. Your inner voice speaks to you in a very calm way because it's ancient. The truth is you are ancient. There is no birth date to who you really are. Your skin and bones are an extension of your expression, but they are not necessarily who you are totally. They are an expression of you, but your ancient self goes beyond all time. And so when your self says things to you, when your inner voice speaks to you, it speaks to you from the wisdom of knowing the end at the very beginning. So there's no like extreme excitement to the idea of what's going on. Let me give you an example. I was riding, when I was living in New Orleans, I was riding with an area called the High Rise. The High Rise is like a high bridge that is in a part of New Orleans that goes up and you come down. And as I was riding in my car, driving my car, my inner voice said to me, the car in front of you, the tire is going to blow, switch lanes. I mean, just as calm as that. So I listened, I switched lanes, and as I was switching lanes, the tire on the car in front of me blew and the car turned over. It literally turned over. It was like I was in the Matrix because I was watching the car turn over as I drove past it, knowing that my inner voice had just communicated to me that it was about to happen. Now, a lot of people experience this. They experience saying, boy, I should have followed my first mind. I wish I would have followed my first mind. When the reality is, it should be far better for us to say that we followed our first mind, just like I did. And because I followed my first mind, I was able to avoid crashing into the car in front of me. So our inner voice is always calm. It is always on our side. It does never say anything negative to us or try to instill fear in us. Every voice of fear that's trying to promote fear in you is not your inner voice.